This is Dan Max at eXp Realty, aka the Trading Agent. This is your daily market review for, I guess it's a live chat actually, for Tuesday, August 6, 2024. Starting a little slow this morning, just in general, just kind of taking it easy, hanging out. Want to give folks a few minutes to pop on in. Again, if you have any questions, do not hesitate to reach out. Join the Discord room anytime. Let us know how we can help. So, giving a minute for folks to stream on in. But again, interesting market. Are you surprised it bounced? VIX hits 61. You're going to see some up moves? No, shouldn't be. Talked about the levels, posted them. Hope people are paying attention. I'm going to give it a second again. If you're watching this after the fact, probably fast forward it to the 3-minute mark. Going to give two people 2 minutes to come on in. Liking these bounces, get to these levels. Once we get to these levels, you can start layering back in if needed. Take off hedges, whatever you need to do. Not too far off, but I don't know if I want to act today, but we'll see. I don't know if you guys are familiar with the tendency during the summer is that Monday and Friday are typically the counter trend. Or are the trend. No, is it counter trend? Yeah, counter trend, and then Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday can be the trend. Now the pop on a Tuesday after a big down Monday, yeah, I don't know. We'll see. Monday's events were rather unique. Yeah, I'd like to get to the levels this week too, but I'm also mentally prepared for next week because we do know the seasonality of mid-August. Eric, I know you have this. The Stock Trader's Almanac is typically bearish. So, first 10 days of August, if I remember right, can be bullish. But it's hard to be bullish with all the geopolitical crap going on, so. Give another 30 seconds and we'll get into it. Again, if you don't have it, please check out this book. Amazing book. We'll drop it in the chat. I mean, you got to have this book. If you don't, I don't know what you're doing. Again, we also talk about it on the Discord room. If you're not a member, what are you doing? It's all in reference articles. Seasonality. Here are all the seasonality things. Rules. Here you go. Year's ending in. Monthly. Here you go. August. Sorry, it's the last 10 days of August. That's the seasonality that I came up with. Now, again, is it perfect? No. So, it's just, again, think about like the stock traders or like the farmer's almanac. Is it going to tell you it's going to rain next year on July 11th? No. It's going to tell you the probabilities. All right. So, again, welcome. Enjoy. Hopefully, again, if you're involved in the channel, please leave a comment. Hit the like button. Subscribe. I'm telling you, well worth it. All of the education videos, all of the stuff that we do, whether you're in real estate, whether you're in trading, all of it. I mean, that's the goal, is to turn profits into passive income and properties. If you want to join the Discord room, link description below. Follow on Twitter. Again, Twitter, I don't know why. I don't know if I'll ever call it X. Enjoy. Well worth it. Again, if you want to chat, hit me up. I'll drop this in the chat as well. Schedule it. Let me know how I can help you. Again, serving others helps bring the good karma, you know. And again, maybe at some point it won't be free, but at this point, as long as I have availability, I don't mind helping people at all. Again, check out the website, got all the education. Again, let's go to YouTube. Oops. Education videos. They're all on the website, everything too. So many people ask questions. I'm like, did you check the videos? No? Okay, cool. Well, that's why I'll study you first. So let's go back to the obvious thing, the biggest elephant in the room, what everyone's anticipating, what everyone's getting excited about, and the thing that we warned folks for a while. If the feds have to cut rates aggressively, if they have to do an emergency rate cut, it shows you the shiznit has hit the fan. Not that everything's great. A lot of people kind of like, oh, this will be good news. This is the rumor. It's good. I'm going long for the long term. World is fixed. Everything's great. Yen carry trade. All good. Nothing's wrong. Yada, yada, yada. Be careful. Please. Please. Please be careful. Got a lot of folks who are just, again, I mean, VIX 61 is pretty high. It felt very manipulated. But again, you got to take it for what it's worth. Right? You just got to take it for what it's worth. And so near term, again, this is backing off this. I think this was at what, 85% yesterday, right? Of a 2 rate cut. Now we're at 62%. Just again, this is why you save this link. Again, I'll put this in the chat. It's well worth it. Well worth it. Because this is what I'm looking at. When people talk about what's the rates going to do, don't listen to the bullshit. Go look at the Fed fund futures. And again, the Feds are not in the game of surprising the markets. That's not their goal. Bitcoin, talked about it, chopping. It's just like gold. Just leave the stuff alone. Again, everyone's going to get so excited about some trading. Okay, that's your choice. Me personally, I'm telling folks, be careful. Please be careful. What's the rush? What is the rush? Well, I want to do this and I want to do that. Okay, I get that. Then trade around it. Just as long as you have in your mind that you are going to manage your positions and trade them. That's all I can warn you. Now, is this the ultimate bottom? The odds would say probably not. But here's the thing that you always get about bottoms. You get the retest, right? You'll get some sort of retest, right? Same thing with tops. So if you want to be a hero, as we talk about, the first mouse gets the trap, the second one gets the cheese. You do you, boo. If that's what you so valiantly want to do, is to step in and catch the first bottom on crypto or gold or all this stuff. I'm like, nope, I have no desire. Oil, because everyone keeps going, oh, the threat of it's just going to blow up one day and you're going to miss it. Really? The whole move will be priced in one day? Okay, got it. Not going to happen. Oil, retesting range lows. Again, natural gas. Love natural gas potential. Man, if we fill this gap, holler at your boy. Let's go through some of the things we're watching. The dollar rallying back. This is probably going to be a fail zone. I'd be watching the 200-day. Very clear. Simple. TLT, we said bonds going to rip. But we also said watch for the first resistance. Watch for the trend lines. Man, these go way back. Hold on. Remember correctly, this one's like way up here. Yeah, way, way, way old. Apologize for the messy charts. But point being is come back down to reality and notice what? There's a decent little VAP zone here at 108. And then you also have, sorry, let me push it up. You also have resistance here from this VAP zone and bottoms. You notice this is where, again, people are like, why? How do you know support resistance is going to form here? Volume at price. If you don't have this indicator on your chart, I don't know what the freak you're doing. If you haven't read Volume Price Analysis by Coulling, another great book. Again, that's where all the inventory lays. Think of market makers as inventory managers, right? They're always trying to manage inventory. And if there's inventory at certain prices, it's going to take time to work through, right? There might be some people who bought TLT above 100 and they're like, oh, you know what? I'm going to get back to even and I'm going to bust out. Okay, hopefully you took some profits. Hopefully you hedged some. It's not rocket science. And again, if this ends up being a top that collapses, then at least you took something and you roll up your stops. Like, it's not that hard. Trading isn't hard. It's the executing. And so now you see the very clear level. Watch what happens here. High and tight is bullish. Decent little pullback could be expected. I mean, maybe you retest 94, 95. Either way, the better, longer it holds up, the better, in my opinion. VIX, right? I don't mind a VIX that holds up in the 20s. Volatility will come down. The moves will be a little up and down all over the place. But it just helps you reload, in my opinion, if you have positions you want to jump on. SPY guy said watch yesterday's high. If you get over it, does it make sense? You get the 100-day. Posted this, maybe 530. Yeah, it does. Today, maybe tomorrow, I don't know. Today, if you get it today, this is the thing about volatility is that it brings out the animal instincts. Like if we move fast back up there, probably gets sold quicker. Takes a couple days. It might linger for a couple days. We'll see. QQQ, I mean, I don't think we're getting the 100-day. I'd be looking at the gapper. Fill the gap. Keep it simple, stupid. IWM, again, lagging. Imagine that. 100-day. I'd be watching that 50-day. Yeah, let me make it clean and simple for everybody at home watching. I don't know, somewhere. I mean, that's probably too big of a range. Let me cut it down. I don't know. Like I said, somewhere in there. That would be my interesting target zone. And again, if you don't act, you don't act. And maybe it doesn't get there. That's the name of the game. It's a probability game. But I want to wait for the zones and the areas that make the highest sense with the best risk-reward profile and just easiest way to like have a reference. Because again, if I can see it, other people can see it. Does this make sense? That's important. Okay? Any questions before I continue on? Any questions? Stop me. Okay. Moving right along. Gold. Again, I don't trust it. You have every right to trade it if you'd like, but I would just leave it alone. Again, this is the thing. It's going down when the market goes down, and it's going to go down when the market goes up, right? All those people jumped into the hedge, and then the market kind of rallies back, and it's going to be sloppy and choppy. It's just one of those things where if I anticipate sloppy, choppy action, I mean, I just sit here thinking, I go, I just don't want to touch it. No touch. No touchy touch. GDX, same stuff. Like, I don't want to, I'd love, and again, if you've listened to Reminiscent of a Stock Operator, the only other book that I reference, there's 3 of them, talks about this. Like, the traders that get in the way before the trend starts are the ones who pave your way in gold. Like, let all these guys get trapped and screwed over, and the market makers play their games, and then when it's ready, there's no one left to sell. The buyers are the only ones left. Next thing you know, kapow, you're going higher. AEM, I mean, we could go through all these. I mean, I had folks trying to convince me to buy AG the other day, and I'm like, no. Just not going to do it. Newmont, like, dude, don't you think it's going to 100? Probably at some point. No. I don't want to get flushed out in the market pullback. Like, look at the gap down on Monday. Like, that feels like a professional gap, the start of the move, right? We talk about these. Well, what's a professional gap? Well, if you didn't know, right, this is where you go into the website or go into the Back to Basics education series. Where is it? There's got to be some. I know it's in here. Here you go. Enjoy. You're like, what is a professional gap? Hey, Billy. How to check it out. Well worth it. Hey, Billy Bob. So again, then we go into oil and gas. Again, I like oil and gas. We gotta like it. Who doesn't like it long term? We broke the levels. Now we're a little oversold. This is what we talk about. You know, you get a little oversold. You get into the choppy sloppy. I mean, what if this is what's going to be hilarious? And I mean, again, I can't predict the future with any clear certainty, but what if it chops around for another 10 days? What if we got to get past, options expiration? I don't know. I'm just talking about probabilities. That's where, again, letting prices come to you makes the most amount of sense. I mean, you can get lucky over trading. Like, no one's saying you can't. But that's where I'd say just be careful, right? Talk about KOLD. Anytime up in the 80s makes sense. Apple, the fruit. Buffett is probably selling more today, if I had to guess. Just my guess. If you see the 50-day 213 area, I think you can pound that one. Amazon, Bezos couldn't get out fast enough at 200. Again, folks in the Discord room, I think especially Jay Souls was saying, like, man, it seems like he's just hammering. He's got his bid on the 200 price level, and he's like, you guys can buy as much as you want, but it's not getting over 200 sustaining because I got shares to unload. I'd be watching the 200-day. Make sense? Right? Make sense? You got any questions, thoughts? Again, I just don't want to rush too fast. Some people say, oh, you rush through the videos. And it's like, man, I'm trying to make them fast. Not always something to say. Meta, holding. I mean, 510, ideally. Man, that is pretty fast. This one could get sold up here quickly. Watch that one. Again, remember, volatility begets volatility. You move up big, Don't be surprised you get sold fast too. CRM just kind of dead weight. Guggenheim, Googie. Damn, you think this would be up at 167 again? Not even close. Mr. Softy, little better bounce, 200-day. I mean, I'd love to see it trap over 405, get to 408, maybe 415. Then you can really pound that one. And again, just have stops, even on your shorts at re-entries. NDAQ again, anything up there. MicroStrategy, we know going into the split, should hold up. Again, that's a big move pretty fast. A big move pretty fast. I mean, I guess you technically could probably, oh wow, if it's the bottom of that. Again, just trying to always connect as many spots as inflection points, like inflection, busted through, came back, failed, held, failed, held, broke over it, the wick of the day, chop below it, multi 2-day range. You see, again, this is why we draw zones. I know this is a wide zone, but I'm looking at the top of it very clearly. Keep an eye on it. Oh, Pan W up $10 at the high of the day. Okay. Again, we like this name. I don't think I'd be shorting this one, but I'm just keeping an eye on it. Get a lot of folks asking me about Tesla, and it's like, just, Tesla's a trading vehicle, in my opinion. There's no value in it right now. There is zero value in this stock, in my opinion. I don't know what the appropriate value is for what's going on in the world. If I had to guess, it's not $200 a share. That's my guess. What's up, Josh? SMH. Are you surprised it's bouncing after this massive smash down? Nope. Nope. I mean, 227 would be ideal. Just running through all of them. Intel can't even get up today. Someone get some Viagra for this thing. It's, man, so many people asking me about it. I'm like, yeah, it's cool. Yep, XLF alerts should be going off here in a second. NVIDIA chopping. I'd love to see 108. I think it would be the 8-day, 10-day, this little spot right here. That would be ideal. AM Dizzle. Yep, XLF. Here we go. We'll get that in a second. Chopping around is dead money. Taiwan Semi. This one where it gets a little interesting for short too, in my opinion. We're in a box. We're in the box. I think this is a good area. Speaking of, again, financials, here you go. Here's carry with nothing. Up a whopping 1% today. Again, there's no buying for this thing. I mean, if it fills the gap there. I'm watching more of the XLF, just like Eric's talking about. This makes sense to me. 50-day approaching. Range lows. Again, if you can get the FAS around 10, 20, somewhere in that range, I think you're going to be fine. Remember, I have to remind people, when the yen carry trade, whatever, unwinds, when all this stuff going on in the market unwinds, who carries the bag? Who is getting brutally destroyed? Who is the one losing? It's probably the U.S. taxpayer at some point for a bailout maybe, but think about it. It's the banks, y'all. We talked about it. It's like JP Morgan's like, dude, Chase or Jamie Dimon's like, no, hell no, we're not buying our stock up here. Here's your professional gap. You go from 217 down to 190. You get a little oversold. All right, bounce expected. Morgan Stanley, I mean, barely a bounce. It's telling you it's not acting well. Bank of America, right? Saying Buffett can't sell it fast enough. Goes from 44 down to 35. Whew. Okay, holds the 200-day. There's always dip buyers, right? Goldman Sachs, 100-day. So, I mean, there's not a ton to say other than just be prepared. Know your levels, right? Know your levels. I love to see the gap fill. Maybe retest the high day around 110. That one gets interesting. McDonald's got sold yesterday. 200-day. So, yeah. I mean, this is what's hard about volatility. And I try to explain, like, once the volatility explodes, you're going to get ups and downs. You're going to get ups and downs. And this is where managing your positions is how you absolutely destroy these markets, because you're going to be given so many opportunities. Is this clear? Like, you're going to get opportunities to short. You're going to get opportunities to hedge and to go long, potentially. You're going to get opportunities to do multitude of things. And you're going to have to get comfortable sleeping at night with maybe a little bit of risk on, risk off. Not this FOMO where I've got to be short the whole time or I've got to be long the whole time. Like I'm telling you, that shit is dangerous. That will screw you up, folks. Starbucks. I mean, again, just kind of rattling through some names. Not a lot. Again, watching the XLF hard, not surprised. I think there is a little bigger, maybe potential. I mean, bounces. Qs are up 2%. I would be watching. I mean, this is the next spot to fail. Think about it, right there. 444s, 445. Any other questions, thoughts, concerns? Again, I like these shorter kind of live chats, but I will gladly continue to open it up. If someone has questions, thoughts, concerns, ideas, they want to review, that is what's up. We are live. Boom, boom, boom. Again, if you're not in the Discord room, if you are, I mean, this is the thing. They're not in this room, but some of the new folks, I don't know why they jump in. They don't say anything. Why? I don't know. I will say this, though. There are a lot of people who create and mimic my profile. I will never ask you for anything. Literally. I will not ask you to invest in crypto. I will not push an idea on you. I will never say, hey, are you doing this? Are you doing this on the side? If you see anyone do anything like that, please. Please, 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 please. Do yourself a favor and report them immediately. So, does that make sense? Any other thoughts, questions, concerns? Because that's kind of where we're at this point. I will never ask you that. Cool. I'm glad you've been enjoying it in the background. Again, Joe, do you have any questions? Just got SQQ fill. Clearly have to smash. Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. A fill. And I know that you get this. It's like, okay, maybe you put a tenth on. Maybe you put a quarter on. You don't go nuts. You don't go nuts, right? No, why would you? You're just kind of feeling it out. And if it ends up working, great. Yep, quarter on, quarter on. Yep, I love it. Keep it simple, stupid. Not a lot to say it other than just you should be, if you're watching the markets today, you know your levels. You also know we got an OPEX next week. We know that these rumors of a 50 basis point rate cut, I mean, they're all crap. They're not real. It's not going to happen. We just know a lot of little things potentially could happen. And it's just where you have to be completely aware and in your own emotion, non-resistance. Hold on real quick. Got a phone call. Got to just double check. Real quick. I apologize. Sorry about that. So, yeah, wherever you're at, let me know. Don't be surprised, though. And again, this is where, I don't know, Josh, if you bought, for example, this is where I was a little concerned yesterday. And this is okay. Again, you learn from your emotions, right? You learn from your mistakes. Again, people who just think they're going to show up great to trading, you're full of shit. Shorting XLF yesterday, to me, it's just is that the best time? No, and that's the question you have to have these mental internal questions. Maybe I'll write those down and put them down and create a sheet. What are the questions I'm asking myself internally as the market's doing this? And the question is, I'll write these down live. Some of the best questions that I ask myself. Does right now provide the best... Again, I'll type this up for you guys. Risk reward. Question mark. Has the market moved quickly and will move quickly moving forward? If so, what is my plan to manage the positions? Do I know my levels? You better know your levels. What is your plan at those levels? And then again, velocity begets velocity. That's something you got to pay attention to in markets like this. Got to be very aware. And if you've been one of those people that's just incredibly naive to think that just the market's going to rip right back to new highs or it's going to tank all at once, I mean, you're betting on the long shot, and you got to be careful. So Randy has a question. NVIDIA will jump pretty big if MC has good earnings tonight. No, not guaranteed. Again, the biggest question about tonight and some of the near-term stuff is what happens in Israel. SMCI's earnings will not affect, I think, too much. Like, that's the question. I mean, again, if they pop, is that good for NVIDIA? I don't know. I mean, we've seen the earnings coming out. Look at Micron. Look at Intel. Look at all these companies laying off. If SMCI says they're doing well, does that mean it's just an SMCI thing, or is this actually a market thing, right? Does this make sense? You got to be careful. Understood? Hope that one helps. Hope that one helps a lot. Because, again, I think people got to be very careful about overthinking that kind of stuff. And, again, as I said earlier, I mean, I think NVIDIA, if you see a 108 handle, I think that makes sense. 8 and 10 day, all these candles down here. How far do you think Apple will go down? Plus, resend me the book that you wanted me to read. Thank you. No, I'm not going to resend you books. I tell guys, like, don't be an asshole. People get mad when I'm doing this. It's all on the website. I say it. Here are all the books. My time is valuable. If you don't want to spend time doing a little bit of research to figure out where these books are and what I'm thinking, then it shows that you value your time more than mine. And I'm doing all this to help you. I want people to have initiative. Do you think when I have a question, I just run to ask someone? No. First of all, I'll try to figure out myself. Go to Google, ChatGPT. Then, like, again, everyone has value in their time. And if the question is as simple as it's on the website, did you really look hard enough? And so, again, don't be an asshole. That was one of all my mentors always said, don't be an asshole. If you really value your mentors, just like the mentorship or a teacher or someone helping you time, try to figure it out yourself first and then ask. Because that's the thing. If I know you tried, like if you couldn't find these books, then that makes me think to myself, I need to make it more available. It needs to be more obvious. And so I gladly will answer that. But if someone just is like, I don't know where this stuff is, I'm like, well, then you didn't really look. And Apple, again, I mean, Apple's downside, I mean, Buffett's trying to unload as fast as he can, in my opinion. Right? Like, look where it held support. Are you surprised? No, it's the top of the VAP zone. So do a little internal, again, here, this is where it gets, sorry, let me pull up like hourly. Let's draw some fibbies, right? If you're really like hunting Apple and want to get deep into the fibs, imagine it all lines up with some important spots. Yeah, look at the, here you go. Right, anywhere in this area to me makes sense. Right, and then you pull it back to the daily. Yeah, 208, 211, 213, again, 50 day. That's how I'd look at it. I'd keep it pretty simple. Again, I mean, could you start shorting here? I mean, if your time frame is longer term, I think it makes sense. But if you have the ability to watch the market, I mean, I would put a limit order higher. That's how I'd look at it. No, of course. I mean, Randy, it's a good question. I just appreciate, again, when people ask me the most obvious questions, it says to me that you're not willing to do the work, or you're too busy, or you got so many distractions, or you're just overworked. I mean, I don't know what the right answer is for every individual. It's just like, man, I try to make this really simple for everybody. Like, the answers are on the website. The answers are on the Discord room, because I get a lot of questions, and I'm not trying to take it on you. I get a shit ton of questions all the time about everything, and my goal is to try to answer all of them. But the ones that I give priority are the people that I know have tried to answer their own questions first. And they're like, I'm struggling, Dan. Help me. And it's like, okay. You'll understand maybe the references too when you have struggled a little bit, or the help is not just given freely. And meaning just like, all right, yeah, I want to know where the recommended reading is, right? It's on the Discord room. It's on the It's on the website. I say it every daily market review, right? That makes sense. So NVIDIA has been priced to exceed expectation. If it meets or exceeds bid, I don't think it pops at any. Yeah, I agree. Again, I don't think SMI drives it far. Yep, of course. And again, it's cool that you asked this video on the video because it makes it easier in case someone else has that same question. So I don't mind doing it here. But in general, because I know you've asked me a few questions and I'm like, man, I got everything for you. The website, Discord, it's all there for anybody who wants to be involved. And then if they ask questions and it's not obvious, boom, it gives me really good feedback too. To like, hey, I need to tweak this. I need to make sure this is available. Yep, you'll learn better if you try to figure it out first as well. Yep. And again, education videos. There's a lot here, y'all. I get it. Any other thoughts, questions, concerns? Again, I mean, if you're looking at some names to short, I don't think, again, this is the thing, I could be wrong. I don't know if like right now makes the most sense. And again, if you extrapolate what's probably going to happen today and why the market's up because of the carry trade being potentially, I mean, Japan says I think 50 to 60% of the carry trade still needs to unwind. We'll see what happens. Is this just a hurricane? I guess, the calm before the storm, the eye of the hurricane, right? Like, this is the thing. V bottoms and V tops are very rare, y'all. Let me remind you, V tops and V bottoms, you always get some sort of back test, right? You either get lower highs, equal highs, or traps. You either get lower lows, equal highs, or traps, right? Here's a little double top. You should always be thinking that in your mind. And this is where it becomes the most powerful shit. If you recognize that in your brain, you can trade the stock on the V's or the extremes, but the shorter, like the next retest, that's where the options game is. And that's what I talk about in the option rules. Like this is the next, probably the best time to buy calls. Not here, but burn out some premium. The VIX is probably higher. Boom, right? If you want to short stocks, yeah, you take a stab with stocks, but with options and you see this big red candle, you're like, ooh, okay. Got it. The trend now is confirmed. What do I care about Bill Gates' portfolio? Again, I don't really have a preference on anyone's portfolio because, again, Buffett, all these guys, like, it's just another stock, right? And here's the thing that, Randy, because this is a great question, because this is a very good question for someone who's not familiar with this stuff. Buffett, Bill Gates, the big boys, they sell options against the stock. So they love this action. They don't care. They're not sitting here going, hey, the stock has to go to 500. That's the only reason why I'm buying it. No, they're like, no, they probably bought it at some lower price. And then it goes into this chop zone and they sell calls, they sell puts, they sell calls, they sell puts, they sell calls, they sell puts, and then in the end, they generate a shit ton of cash, and then they buy more stock. And then it goes, sell calls, sell puts, sell calls, sell puts, sell calls, sell puts. Go read about Warren Buffett. He is the king of covered calls. So just because Bill Gates owns this, it doesn't mean fuck. It doesn't mean anything. It doesn't mean that it's going to rocket. Like, look at Coca-Cola. For years, when it gets stuck in these like chop zones, like, in 98, he's probably, all right, okay, here we go. Selling calls, selling puts, selling calls. All right, boom, goes up, pulls back, chops around. He knows this. And he just keeps buying the dips. And he knows on the pull, because he doesn't think the stock is just always going to go up all day, every day. These guys are long-term investors, so you have to think longer term. So then when it pulls back, he buys more. And then he sells calls, he sells puts. Like, look at Occidental. Like, this is where someone, like, again, like Waste Management, Occidental. I mean, here you go. Buffett someone, if they have a chance, Google exactly what Buffett owns of Occidental. Like, think about it. He is loving this thing. He is accumulating as many shares as he can. But he's not trying to pump it. He's not trying to play this game of like, it needs to go from 25 to 100 right now. No, he needs more inventory. He can only buy so much. If he goes out there and says, I'm going to buy the whole company right now, then he's not going to get that big upside. Does that make sense? Like, if he can start really getting more shares and sell calls and sell puts, sell calls, sell puts, and really accumulate shares along the way and covering them and hedging them and collecting more capital, knowing that he probably believes in oil and gas long term, right? This is where he gets a freaking boner from. Excuse my language. I mean, he's just drinking a Coke. Like, I love this. Because he's buying more stock with the options he's selling against it. And then when he becomes the biggest player of the stock, he can manipulate the volume. That's what people don't realize is like he is making the market on the stock potentially at some point. If he owns 30, 40% of the company, think about it. If he drops 1, 2% of shares out of nowhere, there's not enough buyers at any given moment. So he can create a mini crash or a bottom. Does this make sense? Like, this is where the power of the big boys is. This is what we talk about, why operators matter. And Bill Gates, just because he has a part of his portfolio doesn't mean it's like going to blow up today. I hope that makes sense, Randy. Like, it's probably going to go higher. Like, he's not buying it because he thinks it's going to go lower. So credit there. I mean, that's a good idea. But be careful that you have this mindset that it's going to go right away. Because these guys, once they realize, again, not them personally, but if anyone who understands the market understands it, goes, man, chop is good. I mean, I know people who literally their whole job, the way they make money is they sell options against stocks they own. That's all they do. They generate 3 to 5% a month, and they're just fine and dandy with it. Well, think about when you're Buffett, and he's such a probably a penny pincher, 3 to 5%. He's like, oh, that's just gold. Does this make sense? Any questions on this? Because it's a great question. Fucking amazing question. And this is where people are like buying Occidental. They just will continue to buy it and go, yeah, this is awesome. Ooh, Buffett's buying more. And they're like, in their head, they're going, this is going to 100. And Buffett's sitting here going, no, I don't want it to go 100. I bought all the stock down here and now I want to buy more. And here's the thing, right? If he knows like there's a big crash coming, potentially at some point, do you not think he's mentally prepared? He's selling calls down a little more further, right? People go, well, why didn't he still sell stock? I'm like, why would he have to? Again, he knows how to hedge with options. Does this make perfect sense? I'm again trying to make this crystal clear, not clear as mud, but crystally clear. Like, man, this is not hard. This is really what it is. And so if you think about it, just because some big player, I mean, think about if every stock because again, if you go look at Buffett's portfolio, you go look at Bill Gates' portfolio, do they all go up all the time, always? No, they don't. They just don't. If you understand that, you go, okay, it's a probability-based game. Man, I remember Occidental went on some runs. So it's a great question. Whew. That's a really good question because I think a lot of people get confused. They go, well, just because Buffett owns it, it's going to go higher. Right? Like, think about all those folks who bought Bank of America. Right? Like, when did he buy it? I don't know. Probably somewhere down in here. Bought it at 28, 30. I don't know. He bought some at 20. Dude, he's been liquidating as fast as he can in the 30s and 40s. Ask yourself a big question, right? Was that a huge return for him? Probably not on paper, but if you saw the covered call option strategies he was doing or covered puts or whatever not really covered puts, but we'll see. Again, they don't have to disclose all this because it's not a big percentage, but think about it. Does this make sense? Right? Like, he's buying Apple here. If he's selling stock as well, then he just doesn't trust the long term. Like, he's scared that this range will break. That's my biggest thing. Like, this is what I'd be thinking. Like, when you see a Buffett big dog trying to unload, they don't feel comfortable in the soundness of the stability of the stock long term. There's something in his mind. Now, again, will Buffett be wrong? He's been wrong before. Will Bill Gates be wrong? Yes, everybody will be wrong. But to me, it says that, again, this is where I'm like kind of itching like at Apple. Like, he truly believes that it's not going to probably hold these range lows, and it could go significantly lower. And if he's worried about significantly lower prices, he might be a little scared that at some point, if he can't hedge properly, he's going to get his teeth kicked in. Buffett doesn't like to get his teeth kicked in. Does this make sense? Think about it. I always tell folks, like, be risk averse by nature. Don't go out here and go crazy and just try to like get rich all the time being nutty. Good luck. Great questions, Randy. This opens up the door for a lot of good conversation. So I appreciate it. And again, you guys showing up, asking questions, let me know what you're thinking. Again, more times than not, the answers aren't rocket science. But that's a great question because I think people do not understand what Buffett's game is here. Buffett's game must, in his mind, he's like, there's just not any upside left. The lemon has been squeezed. Does this make sense, guys? Folks, when a big operator does not want to own the stock anymore, again, just like remnant stock operator, they do not think there's any upside left in the stock. When they don't think there's any upside left in the stock, do you want to hold it? That's your question. Now, again, will they be wrong? Yep, they will be. All right, I'm going to wrap it up. Great questions. Again, thanks, guys, for showing up. I appreciate it. Again, if you have any questions, holler. But do me a favor, try to answer your first. Google it, check the website, check the Discord room. And again, if it's a general question, probably an easy answer. And again, that's why people in Discord room answer the questions as well if they can. Yeah, we'll see how the close looks. Again, I have a feeling it's lunchtime. So do not be surprised by, say, like the SPY just going sideways for the next, like, here you go. Let's like pull up the 10-minute. Yep, thanks, Eric. Do not be surprised if we just slop around at the high of the day. All right? Just nothing wrong with that. Chop around. Maybe we pull back this 20-day curling up. All right? Maybe like kind of attach to it for a couple hours. That's all. All right. You guys are amazing. I appreciate all the love, support. And again, if you have real estate questions, let me end it there. I'm telling you, hit me up because you're going to have to do some very smart things if you don't want to get in trouble. And when I say in trouble, like if you're listing your house, you better have a damn good realtor. You better not use your uncle that just throws it on the market. No, you're going to have to create marketing. You're going to have a realtor that has tremendous amount of success creating hype in a property, knowing that where all the demographics of who's moving to your area, who's leaving it, who to market to. Because again, in Colorado, there's certain places that you market to when you want to attract California buyers, Nevada buyers, people from other, like Phoenix. Like there's science behind this. Or if you're trying to buy a house, do you know the market? Do you want to, or do you want to trust a realtor? Well, I'll figure it out myself. I'll get on Zillow. Okay, cool. Well, next time I go to court, I'm going to figure out law so that I can go represent myself in court. No, hell no. Let people do their jobs. They'll do them way better than you. They can do it in their whole life. So, all right. Appreciate it, guys. Again, great questions. Thanks, Randy. Appreciate you guys, Eric, being involved. Josh, Joe, trying to give credit to everyone who's said something. Appreciate it. You guys have a wonderful day. See you later.